have the pleasure of being joined by one of the biggest names in golf currently, Bryson DeChambeau. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, we've got two big headlines that we want to discuss. And the first one, we've got an amazing stats team here, and they've been working away. And you've improved your accuracy with your driver, but maintained your distance. So we want to dive into that first off, and then we've got one more headline. So can you hit a few and talk about that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, from my perspective, I've always tried to be the straightest driver of the golf ball growing up. And then I realized, wow, hitting it farther can be a massive benefit. And so I'm trying to marry the two. And over the past few years, I feel like our game, and I say our game because it's a lot of work with my team, has gotten to a place where I just am more knowledgeable about how to strike it more repeatably. Like, as a junior golfer, I always knew how to be repeatable. I was very consistent with my irons and my driver. And then as I get on tour and try to get more aggressive, things kind of got out of whack, and now I'm starting to soften into that position of knowing how to hit it straight with that speed. A lot of it's just a lot of failure, I would say. Most people don't realize how important failure is to improving in the game of golf and being okay with failure. And so that's the one piece of advice I can give everybody out there that is watching this, is be okay with trying things. And then if it doesn't work within 3 or 4 shots, go back to something else, do something else, try something else that's going to make your golf swing and golf game better. I don't like the methodology of, oh, I'm going to just keep hitting the ball and try to ingrain this new motion. Yeah, there are times where some aspects of it are good. If it's really off, if there's something really off, but for the most part, you have a unique body to yourself. You got to work with something that works best for you.
Dropping nuggets straight away. So let's talk about that repeatability. There's certain things you do in your technique that help you have consistent impact. What are those? It's
a lot of body pressure locks. So I'd call them pressure gauges. So for me, I go internal with my left arm. So I go fully internal, and then I external the lower forearm. So it kind of locks and creates this body lock. So I can't ever get the face to close too much, you know. At least I try not to. There's obviously other things that make the face close, but what I've done is segment each body part out and go, okay, how does that affect the face and path of the golf swing? And so from that, when I learned this 2-3 years ago, and I got a driver in play that's pretty nice for me and consistent everywhere off the face, my accuracy's just gone up like crazy. And ultimately, that's what I did. So I feel in my hands and body where the club face is and how I'm moving every single time. One great drill to do is hit golf balls. Now you got to make sure there's nobody else really around you, but try to hit golf balls with your eyes closed and get really good at hitting the center of the face with your eyes closed.
Can we see one? Am I safe?
You're safe. You should be safe. Here, let me close the eyes. Here. So here, and then. So that's a toe ball, and they'll let the face open.
And you can feel that through impact?
Correct. Yeah. And I know what I did. So as I get more comfortable with it, because that was my literally first swing of pretty much this session, in a sense. Close my eyes. I can then start to hit it straight.
There you go. And I want to talk about that a bit more, because we know you as a scientist. We know how much you love data.
Yeah.
But you know, you are also such a feel player. So how do you use the two together?
Yeah, it's a great point. Everybody says, oh, you're the scientist and everything. And growing up, I was actually an artist. Like, part of my craft is creativity. And through that creativity, I work off of basic fundamentals of the laws of nature. And I was like, look, I know I'm creative. I know I'm artistic and have a bunch of unique thoughts and feels about my body. I can feel things differently than most. But how do I back it with something that gives me a distinct advantage? And so I went down the rabbit hole of the scientific method of trying to figure out what's the most consistent way to swing a golf club. And I went down different swing methodologies and trying to figure it out. And then ultimately I realized I've got to be repeatable in what my golf swing allows me to do, in my own self. And from that, I then said, okay, how do I maximize that possibility of swinging it as repeatable as possible? All I mean by that is I took my feel, I learned a bunch of science around it, and then from that, I said to myself, all right, let's bring it back to a field basis, an athletic basis. I was a good volleyball player in high school, could jump, 10-foot line it, great hand-eye coordination with ping pong. Ping pong helped tremendously with my hand-eye coordination, give me good feels. And so I used a lot of other sports to help engage in the game of golf. And so from all the science and the numbers, as I keep learning of what's, the better face curvature, the proper shaft flex, weight, swing weight, you name it, all the things that are important to being successful in the game of golf, I then went, all right, how do I just repeat my motion as consistently as possible? And that's when I went into the body mechanics and going, okay, if I'm pulling it, how do I get the body into a position where I'm not pulling it? And that's the way I think. And then I just play golf in my head. So when I'm hitting golf balls, I'm literally playing golf pretty much almost with my eyes closed, in a sense. I'm just feeling it all in my head. I don't play golf with my eyes closed, but
literally, everyone's going to be trying that at home now.
I'm sensing the golf club throughout the whole entire golf swing, and trying to make every single shot much like the driving range.
And so, as much as you've got internal, external,
in ranges of motion. Yeah.
How does that affect your feel?
So it actually applies more pressure to that area. So like if I was to turn your wrist, for example, if I was to take your wrist and I was to go here and I was to turn it all the way, so relax the upper, we're just relaxed. If I was just if you're just going like that, that's a barrier, right? And there's if you hold yourself in that position, you feel pressure there.
You can feel it.
Yeah. So if you're here, well, you don't know if you're moving just a little bit,
that's so
right?
True.
Yeah. So the more you get it closer to this end ranges, so you go full upper internal, and then you go full external. There you go. Now you can grip the club. So I learned how to lock the body into place and feel pressure.
And
so
it heightens the feel.
Yeah, I actually use pressure and it applies to feel very nicely.
Amazing. And another big headline which we have to speak about, you've been trialing and developing all year the golf ball.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been doing it. I had somebody else do it.
You've been in the lab.
For me, but I've been giving my input, and Cam Smith won with this golf ball that I've been talking about for quite a bit, and it's right here. It's the dimple edges are a little different. You probably can't see it much differently, but as you look at the dimple edges, it's a much different dimple design. You can't really see a crazy amount of difference, but when you're up and close to it, you'll see that there's steeper edges and whatnot. But this is just a different aerodynamic package for us. And when you change the aerodynamics, it changes other levers.
So let's talk about those. Is it spin, launch? What are you seeing the most difference with the new ball?
The most difference is in my long game right now. I see the flight go about 15 to 20 feet down in height, which is crucial for me hitting into the wind and crosswind. And I feel the ball is flying a little straighter for me.
Are you losing any distance with that? Or?
So the funny thing about it is the ball speed is just a fraction less, but I make up for it in landing angle. So it runs out more.
It's flatter.
So I'm actually not losing anything. If anything, in certain scenarios, I'm hitting it way farther. But this golf ball is affording me that opportunity to hit a little straighter, I believe. Hopefully this week it pans out that way and it works well. You just never know. Like there's so many variables out there that you can't truly account for, like what happens out of the rough downwind on a downslope or side. Like so many things your brain has to know what's going on. All my half shots, all the wedge shots, chipping around the green, how it feels in putting on the putting green, has controlling
Let's
speed.
talk about that quickly, because that is a fill game. What difference have you seen with the wedges?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty interesting. It is coming off and flying a little lower. I see, wedges are more ballistic. What I mean by that is it's really the core construction of the ball. It's not necessarily the aerodynamics. It's not moving fast enough to move wind around it that makes the arrow affect it a lot. So it's more the ballistics and whatnot, but I do notice the cover is being a little softer, so I feel like it's sticking a little bit more and launching just a fraction lower, which is good for my game.
Let's see another one.
Yeah, sure. So this is a regular ball, so you won't see lower launch here, but let's see if I can get to 190 ball speed for fun.
The eyes open?
Eyes are open. Yeah, that's nice.
That is very good.
Only 83 ball speed, but that's just me warming up. Should get to 90.
Final question for you, Bryson. You're always looking for extra 1%. If you've got this dialed in, what is next?
Wedging, even lower launches and more control.
Got you.
Putting, reading greens better. And then, honestly, for me, the more I can just consistently drive it in the fairway and my wedge is closer, give myself more opportunities for birdie anywhere and everywhere, I feel like I'm going to get to that Scotty Scheffler level.
I'd be scared. Right, let's see one more. 190.
190. Let's see if I can do it. Here, I'll just do it for fun here. That should be 90.
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
93 there.
Bryson, thank you so much. I find you one of the most fascinating golfers on the planet. So thank you for giving us the gift of all this information and play well.
Just having fun and trying to inspire a younger generation. And honestly, for me, I can't wait to just play tournament golf. It's a lot of fun.
Get out there tomorrow. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
You gotta love captain of Crushers GC, Bryson DeChambeau. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I got a lot of work to do after watching that. And now live joining us in the post-round show, Rachel Drummond out on the range. Rachel, tossing to you. What's going on out there?
Christian, talk about mind blown. There are so many elements that these guys are trying to advance with 1% all the time. And a man like Bryson doesn't want to change his technique. He wants to find equipment that can help him. So I just spoke with Adam, who's Thomas Pieters' caddy, and he said how these golfers out here are actually using different years of the Titleist golf balls. So they've got some players that are using balls from 2005, 2018, and eventually he thinks that golfers will have golf balls for them. I feel like I'm juggling. Right, we're going to go through the balls quickly. So we've got the Pro V. This is used by golfers like Casey, and it spins more around the greens. Then you've got the Pro V1X, which is higher launch, higher spin with the long game. So we've got people like Bubba, Neiman using that golf ball. And then as we had Bryson, who's just behind me, who's still working on the golf ball, he's got one that's, you know, spinning less because he was struggling with spin with his driving irons, his long irons, but also his wedges. So he said he's got a bit more control. But I spoke with his caddy and he said that anything downwind, it's still just going too far. So this is something that is going to have to evolve over time, and it's not a quick answer, but they're just trying to make small advances all the time. So we see it day in, day out with these guys, and it's easy wins if they can sort out their equipment rather than having to change anything technically. But I find it fascinating. I can't play with 4 golf balls, but
I'll need that on one hole, so keep it for me, Rachel. But I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit, because you talked about all the different golf balls that all these players have. Now, Bryson is a completely different animal altogether, purely because of his ball speed and how hard he actually hits the ball. Now, I spoke to Jibo earlier today. He said it actually spins, the current golf ball that he has, spins 3,400 RPMs less. Can you help give people who are watching perspective on that? Because that's a lot of RPMs.
It certainly is, and it just shows how much power this man has. But it's not just the power, it's also the angle of attack, the steepness. His clubs are all the same length. There are all these things that are tying into these equations, and your amateur golfers at home are, unless they're very strong and they're longest drive guys, they're not going to be generating that kind of spin. And with these golf balls, Sue-Ann, I think you can agree, a lot of it for amateur golfers about feel around the green. So these balls, some of them feel slightly softer, some slightly firmer. So the biggest advances they're going to make at home are actually getting on the green and seeing what responds better for their technique. But Bryson, as we know, is an anomaly. I can't even say that word. Anomaly.
It is hot out there.
But it's fascinating. Did you get that, guys?
Yes, we got it. And as usual, thank you so much, Rachel. We appreciate it. I was waiting for her to actually do a juggle. I thought she, at one point,
that would have been entertaining for sure.
Now,